Welcome to Jeddah, and it is clear that the Red Bull domination is continuing where it left off in 2022. Max Verstappen, the winner in Bahrain, the pole sitter here. Sergio Perez this time gets himself onto the front row alongside his teammate. Then you have the two Ferraris. Will they be able to offer any sort of decent challenge in the race? We shall see. Carlos Sainz ahead of Charles Leclerc. And then it's Oscar Piastri and Landonorris in the McLaren. So decent performance from McLaren. And the team that's all at sea, despite having got a pole and a second place in the opening race, is Mercedes. They are in 8th behind Ocon's Alpine. Ocon has done a great job there. Lewis Hamilton only able to get into 8th. George Russell in 9th. So it looks like an exceptionally difficult race for those Mercedes. Logan Sargent, what a performance. 10th place, right behind George Russell. Then Alex Albon, 11th. He did come from 18th to get a point in the opening race, so there's definitely a lot of hope for Alex Albon there. Pierre Gasly, 12th. Nico Hülkenberg, 13th. Fernando Alonso, all the way down in 14th. Aston Martin actually had high hopes for this season, and they got some points in the opening race, but that's difficult, watching them down in 14th and 15th. Fernando, once again, just his career choices don't seem to be going right. Yuki Tsunoda, 16th in the AlphaTauri, and that's a team that's got bigger problems than Aston Martin, and so Alfa Romeo as well. Valtteri Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou, Nick De Vries and Kevin Magnussen rounding out the grid at the back. And so we shall see, is it going to be a crash fest or a pretty standard race? Let's see and find out. So there is Max Verstappen on the left-hand side, Sergio Perez on the right, the two Ferraris behind them, and interesting to see, we'll wait for the lights to go out. Max is going to be aiming for 2 wins out of 2. He's got away pretty well, and there we go, and Perez is looking like he's going to have a look, and Perez does have a look, and he's going to run the outside, but Max edges him out and holds the lead. So Max Verstappen still in the lead out of turn 1. I know the Ferraris are already dropping back, and I think they've one of the Ferraris has dropped behind one of the it's Leclerc. He's through in the third, but we're hearing that Leclerc is actually stuck in gear, so he made a great start, but now he's got a major issue and is allowed whichever McLaren that was into third. Then whichever McLaren that was has got a great chance of getting onto the podium now. But Perez is attacking Max Verstappen. He's clearly got some good pace. I wonder if Max has got a problem. Perez goes through. Max doesn't really fight it too much, and Perez is already pulling away. Oscar Piastri is the McLaren who's through in the third, and Lando Norris has also passed Charles Leclerc, and Sainz and Ocon is through as well, and Ocon is, well actually that's, and then there's Hamilton for the second race in a row, getting stuck behind a limping car. Once again, Lewis Hamilton not having the best of luck in that situation in the early race, and yeah, I think he's down in 8th at the minute. So here's Sainz trying to apply a move to Lando Norris, runs a bit wide there, but luckily there's not a wall. So Sainz having a determined look. It could be the battle for third place. So actually here's Max Verstappen still trying to catch a look at Sergio Perez, but he's not competing. I wonder if Max is just settled in for the day for second place, and possibly that Red Bull might have an issue, we think, because look at the way in which Perez is pulling away. This doesn't normally happen to Max Verstappen. He's normally right there, all the top Red Bull driver. Maybe Perez is just doing a great performance. You know, we'll find out towards the end of the race, I'm sure. Piastri there, and Sainz and Norris still battling, and they do appear to be catching Oscar Piastri as well. So I think Piastri must have an issue, because look at the rate of knots he's being caught at. So we've got Max Verstappen potentially with an issue, and Oscar Piastri potentially with an issue, and there's a yellow flag somewhere. Nico Hülkenberg lost his front wing. Well, look, Piastri still leading, but look at Sainz and Norris catching at such a risk. This is the big issue. We've not been watching the Red Bulls because they're pretty much dusted down, and Sainz go over the move on Piastri. Piastri defends. The car doesn't sound too bad. Maybe it's just a little bit sick, or he's missing a gear or something. Well, Norris comes through as Piastri blocks. Piastri will clearly, if he's got an issue, he's going to try and give his teammate that position. And there's no Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is out. Didn't even see it on camera. That was the quietest retirement ever. But Max Verstappen, we said he might have had an issue. Now he's out of the race. It's clear he did. And So Piastri still trying to defend, but Sainz finally grafts his way through on that McLaren, and Piastri was not able to help Lando Norris get ahead of him. Will Piastri defend now? Will he let his teammate through? There's not long left to go. There's Perez, there's Max Verstappen's car. Perez continues to move forward. There was a pretty straightforward win for him today, even when Max Verstappen was behind him. Perez has just been the class of the field today. Absolutely fantastic performance from Checo. Carlos Sainz will come through to finish in second place, and a Piastri just holds on from Lando Norris. Clearly got an issue, and the two McLarens have a bit of contact after the flag. It's a bit bizarre. Ocon up into 5th, Hamilton 6th. Leclerc, we know, had that gear problem, so it looks like he continues to drop back. Alonso does get a point in the end. Both Williams get points as well. So yeah, Leclerc dropping back, still hasn't finished the race yet. And here's the thing, normally by about this point of the slow down lap, the game has moved us on to the results screen, but obviously this must mean that not everybody's crossed the line. Well, there's Charles Leclerc, classified 16th. Never retired from the race, maybe should have done to save the car, but carried on, but definitely wasn't going to get any points with that issue happening so early in the race. And it's a real shame for Charles, because he did actually get ahead of his teammate at the start. Although we said the Ferraris weren't a threat, did Charles' problem kick in straight away? Was that why they couldn't keep up? Well, we've got to try to keep some hope that it's not going to be a complete Red Bull wing wash this year. And it seems that Red Bull are only giving themselves wings. And that's, we just got to try to maintain some enthusiasm and some hope for a battle this season, because that pace today was clearly dominant. I mean, if you can get a few people qualify in front of Red Bull so that they've got a battle for it in the races, that will certainly help things. But yeah, it's looking like at least we may see a battle between the drivers if Perez continues to offer that level of resistance to Max Verstappen. We shall see, we can hope. There's Lance Stroll completing his cool-down lap. And there's a stopped car. That's Charles Leclerc. So that's why we're taking so long to get a results screen, because Charles Leclerc's Ferrari didn't conk out during the race, but conked out on the slow-down lap. So, well, that's that then. So, yeah, fairly interesting race once you get away from the top two, I'd say. Well, Sergio Perez wins it. Fantastic drive from him, no doubt about that. Carlos Sainz made the most of his opportunities with Leclerc and Piastri having issues to finish in second place. Piastri in third despite his issues. That's a great performance. And Lando Norris in fourth. Esteban Ocon, fantastic all weekend from him. And much better from Alpine overall. Esteban Ocon, what a great performance. Finishes in fifth place. Beats a Mercedes. Then Lewis Hamilton in sixth. Pierre Gasly in seventh. Then the Williams, Logan Sargent ahead of Alex Albon, 8th and 9th, and Fernando Alonso comes through to finish 10th and claim a point. And what this does for the Drivers' Championship, it means Perez leads it on 37, Sainz on 28 is in second, Max Verstappen is third on 25. I'm sure if he'd have finished second, he'd still be leading it, but if his F1 was spelt backwards, as has been documented many times before, and if it's no good, it's what's happened that's the true barometer of it, and that is that Max is in third and currently 12 points behind his teammate. Piastri, consistency paying for him. He's fourth in the championship, 23 points. George Russell, fifth on 18. Charles Leclerc, sixth on 15. Lewis Hamilton, seventh on 14. Lando Norris, eighth on 12. Then it's Ocon on 10 and Gasly on 6. Alonso, 5. Sargent, 4. Albon, 3. And Stroll, 2. In the constructors, Red Bull 62, Ferrari 43, McLaren 35, Mercedes 32. That's a big question, Mercedes' consistency at the moment, because they looked reasonable in Bahrain. Never a match for Max, but you certainly felt that if Lewis hadn't got delayed behind Lando, he could have done something. You felt that George, although he was under a bit of pressure from Charles, that he held the second place with enough merit. But yeah, here, absolutely nowhere. but concerning for Mercedes, they look very inconsistent. 32 points in 4th. Alpine 5th, 16. Aston Martin and Williams on 7. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.